What's up, guys? I'm Greg. Today we're going to be talking about how Dave Ramsey went broke and how it won't happen to you. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the order right here, so if you feel like jumping around, please feel free to do that. So when starting about the topic, I think it's important to look at Dave's backstory. So here it is, Dave Ramsey's website. Started from nothing. By the time I was 26, I had a net worth of a little over $1 million. I was making $250,000 a year. That's more than $20,000 a month net taxable income. And if we skip down a little bit, I had a lot of debt, a lot of short-term debt, and I'm the idiot who signed up for it. Now keep this in mind because this is very important later on in the video. Dave Ramsey got his real estate license at 18. He rose to $1 million net worth, all in real estate, during the 1980s. Now, it's good to keep in mind that in the 1980s, the market was heavily inflated due to the fact that investors found it favorable for tax avoidance. With the tax laws at the time, it made real estate a more favorable investment as opposed to stocks or something else, just because of the tax benefits. And Dave's motto was fairly simple. It was buy, fix, flip, which is what you see nowadays. And here's where it starts to get good, and we will get into it right after you smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's right there if you didn't know where it was. Also, while you're down there, the subscribe button's down there too. So let's look at the mortgages that you can purchase today. And if you don't know a lot about mortgages, I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Basically, with a fixed rate mortgage, which is typically what you see today, if you sign up at the bank for a payment that's $2,000 a month over the next 15 or 30 years, however long your loan is for, you will pay $2,000 a month, regardless of what's going on in the economy, regardless of what's going on in the real estate market. That $2,000 a month will forever be $2,000 a month until your loan is paid off. So where did Dave go wrong? Dave Ramsey was taking out 90-day loans. Yes, you heard that right, 90. And what that means is that after the 90 days, the loan became due in full with the option for the bank to look at the terms and renew the loan for another 90 days. And I know what you're thinking. Yes. That does sound like gambling. Dave's model consisted of buying a property with a 90-day loan, and after those 90 days, he would have already bought it, fixed it, sold it, and then paid back the loan. This allowed him to go out of pocket with very little money and still profit from the house. Now you're thinking, well, that doesn't sound too bad. Maybe a little risky, but I don't understand how that caused him to go bankrupt. And then enters the 1986 tax reform. So I'm going to keep this brief because I know talking about taxes is a pretty boring topic. The tax reform of 1986 was a comprehensive tax reform legislation that was passed into law by President Ronald Reagan. The law effectively lowered the top marginal tax bracket income tax rate while eliminating several loopholes. Basically, super long story short, before 1986, you could paper depreciate the loss on a property over 19 years as opposed to 27.5, which we currently are at, as well as it increased the capital gains tax. This basically just pushed investors away from real estate as a tax avoidance strategy, causing the market to enter a lull where houses were sitting longer, the demand wasn't as high, and prices started to fall. See, now as this is going on, Dave is starting to sweat, but this isn't the final nail in the coffin. Now keep in mind, if Dave had a 15 or 30-year fixed rate mortgage, he wouldn't really be in that big of a deal right now. The final nail in the coffin is when Dave's bank got bought out by another bank, and that bank determined his strategy to be too risky, and they called all his loans. Which basically means that after the 90 days of the loan was up, they decided not to renew and he had to pay back the balance in full, which meant that he was sitting on property that he couldn't sell because houses were sitting longer and the market wasn't as hot and prices were falling, meaning that he didn't have money to pay back the bank. And that all equals foreclosure. And I think by this point we can all kind of agree that Dave Ramsey's strategy relied so much on heavy speculation of the future prices of the market that right now we're probably all cringing a little bit like, whoa, it's just a little bit too risky. And here's why what happened to Dave won't happen to you. Because like we talked about earlier, us in the US have what's called the 15 or 30-year fixed rate mortgage, meaning that when you sign up for a $2,000 a month payment, whether it be over 15 years or 30 years, that payment is going to be $2,000 a month until the loan is paid off. And these loans only have a due on sale clause, which basically means that when the property is going to be sold, the loan has to be paid off, which I feel like makes sense. So these fixed rate mortgages are safe, predictable, and backed by the US government. At the end of the day, we're all super fortunate that these were instituted because at the end of the day, it makes so the bank can't just call your loan and then foreclose on you when you don't have an extra $150,000 laying around. So hopefully this gave you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that what happened to Dave Ramsey won't happen to you. Just go ahead, get a fixed rate mortgage, don't speculate on short-term investments, and just be wise with your money. And keep in mind, I'm not a tax professional, nor am I a mortgage lender. I'm just a guy on YouTube giving my opinion. I'll catch you next video.